Hello everyone, this is Terry from GoTreasureHunting.com, and in this video I want to discuss with you some top secret things that dealers won't tell you, even other hunters, treasure hunters won't tell you. I've had some questions in the past from beginning treasure hunters and metal detectors, and I want to address them. How do people find these great finds? Is it the machine? Is it the experience? Is it the location? Well, it's location. Location, location, location. Great finds are made by doing research, by finding locations that people have gathered in the past. There are many ways to do this research, and I go into that in different videos that are already here on the channel. But new metal detectors especially, think about when you're going into parks and modern areas, you're going into places that other metal detectors have already hit. They've been hitting these places since the 1970s. I know I have. The further you have to walk, the better your finds are going to be, because what you're doing is you're Xing out the overweight, the less interested people, and you're only competing with those advanced treasure hunters that have decided they're going to put in the extra work, walk that extra mile to get that silver coin. What else do beginning treasure hunters, metal detectors need to consider? Well, how about how to choose your machine, how to choose your equipment? A lot of beginning metal detectors with more money than brains tend to go for that, that hot shot machine. Let's get a MineLab Manticore because that's the hottest, newest machine on the market. And by God, if that won't do it, we'll get a Deuce 2. No, that's not how it works. Those machines are for very experienced metal detectorists who are going to use them in areas not hunted before. They're going to use them in areas that they know and they have found treasure before. These machines are expensive machines, and they're very hard to pay for with treasure that you find with them. Now, the same holds true for gold nugget detectors. If you are a weekend gold nugget chaser and you live in any other state besides Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, California, you do not need a MineLab GPZ 7000. You are wasting your money. You'd be much better off with a used Fisher Gold Bug 2. And, these are some of the things that you need to think about as a new detectorist, prospector. A MineLab Xterra Pro has extremely good capabilities for a single frequency metal detector, and it only costs about $280. Now, this is a machine that I send out to a lot of my veterans. The other machine that I send out to my veterans who live near a beach is the MineLab Vanquish. Now, the MineLab Vanquish 340 is $199. Can you imagine a simultaneous multi-frequency metal detector that is $199? Waterproof coil, will eat up the wet saltwater sand just like any other simultaneous multi-frequency detector that costs $1,000 or more. Think about that for a moment. What you can't do with the Vanquish, you can't go underwater with it because the box is not waterproof. All right? That's where you start spending money when you want to waterproof something. Now, they just came out with, you can get a Nocta Macro Legend now for $500. You can get a MindLab Xterra something or other. It's brand new. I forget the name of it, but they've just upgraded that machine. You can get a MindLab Equinox 600 for around $500 now. So know your conditions. What are you going to be hunting? Where are you going to be hunting? If you're not going to be hunting on a saltwater beach, if you are going to be hunting in freshwater rivers, freshwater streams, freshwater lakes, you don't need necessarily simultaneous multifunction or multi-frequency. But you do need a waterproof single frequency machine. And you have to know what you're looking for in these machines. All right. Let's see what else we can talk. Oh, yes. Time on the headphones. No matter what machine you end up buying, you need time on the headphones. A minimum of 50 hours just to know how the machine works. Not to know its language, just to know how it works. 50 hours on the headphones. Now, at 100 hours on the headphones, you should be getting used to the machine's language, what it's telling you, what the sound is actually telling you, what the numbers are telling you. At 100 hours, you have probably memorized the good targets, and you are now deciphering good targets from bad targets. So, and that's just how it works. It works in 50-hour increments. There's no way to speed it up. No way. There's just no way to speed it up, no matter what machine you're on. Handheld pinpointers. Do you really need one? In my opinion, no. Do they make it a lot easier? For some people, yes. For others, no. For most, let me rephrase that. For most people, yes. It's a lazy man's tool. A minority of people wouldn't use a pinpointer if you gave it to them. What does the pinpointer do for you? Once you dig your plug and remove the dirt from that plug, you scan your plug with the metal detector. Now, if the target is not in the plug, that means it's still down in the hole. All right, so you take your metal detector, you sweep the hole, bink, bink, bink. Yes, it's still in the hole. Now you take out your handheld pinpointer, you turn it on, and you stick it down in a hole, and you move it around down in a hole until it goes off, and that's where your piece of metal is. So now you know where to dig it out. Now, with the metal detector, you bop, stick it in a hole. You're not really sure where it is, so you go in there with your digger and you dig out a couple of more scoops, and then you bop again. If it's still in a hole, you grab the scoop, or you scoop a little bit with dirt in your hand, and you rub that against the coil. If it goes off, you got it in your hand. If you don't, you go back in the hole. So there's just different styles. I've gotten to the point where I can judge how deep a target is, not even by looking at the depth meter, just by the strength of the signal. So I know where to put my digger or my shovel and just pop. And if it's deeper, obviously I have to do a plug, but most of the time they're 4 to 5 inches deep, these targets. So you just pop them out the first time and rub that little plug right up against the coil, and it's usually right in there. That's another thing, depth. Do you really need a lot of depth? Yes, you need some depth. I would say to 13 inches or so. Past 13 inches, unless you are a relic hunter or a gold nugget hunter. You really don't need to go past 13 inches. If you're looking for jewelry and coins, your targets are going to be in the 4 to 7 inch range. 99.9% of the time. So that's what I have to say about depth. Digging tools. Digging tools are extremely important because if you go out and buy a cheap hand digger, it's going to break or bend, and you're just going to buy another cheap hand digger, and you're going to continue to do that. So spend $40 to $45 in the first place, and get you a digger that's actually made for digging up metal detecting targets. I used to use a Lesh, but now I use a Grave Digger Tools Sidekick hand digger. It'll never break. It'll never bend. You could use it as a weapon if you had to. This thing is incredible, and it's cheap compared to many of the other diggers, like the Lesh diggers or the Predator diggers. Permission. Do you ask permission to? Can I metal detect in this park? Can I metal detect in these woods? No, don't ask permission. It is so much easier to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know," than to walk up to somebody and say, "Oh, is it okay to dig here?" Because they're going to say no. Because they're going to figure that you're going to damage the park or damage the woods or whatever you're digging in. Don't ask permission. Just go metal detect until somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, you can't do that here." And just at that point say, "Oh, sorry," and walk away. I mean, it's really that simple. All right, this is my first video on tips and tricks for all of you metal detectors and treasure hunters out there. We'll get more involved as time goes by. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helps you. Please comment down below, like the video, and please subscribe.